Welcome back to the channel. It is time. Finally. We are here for the Super Bowl 55 breakdown. Draftkings one game showdown. This is the final game, okay? This is it. This is for all the marbles. This is what I've been waiting for. And I might have a little bit of a different perspective for you guys. And that's what I'm going to bring to you. I know everyone else is just chucking in quarterbacks and receivers, thinking it's going to go a certain type of way. I mean, it can, but this is a big game for all the marbles. Like I said before, I think things get a little bit tight. I believe that you'll see longer possessions because every down counts, and no one is trying to make a mistake here. You got to have a sustained drive, and you really have to control the ball because either team, they have elite quarterbacks, and you don't want them in their hands. So we're going to break this down. I'm going to give you some of my favorite captain plays, and then obviously the flexes as well to go with it. And we need correlation in those spots. So we're looking at this game, and I'm thinking a lot of people are going with the over. Over 72% of the public is going with the over of 55. I'm going to be contrarian. I'm going with the under. Just looking at the injuries and how this is all going to play out, I think that Tom Brady is a master of sustaining drives, and we know what he does. You see how the not Kansas City Chiefs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have gotten to this point. Other than throwing the ball all over Washington football team, they were able to sustain drives with the running game with Leonard Fournette, a little bit of sprinkle of Ronald Jones, and timely passing to, Scottie Miller, who's been huge, Cameron Brate, who's been solid, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all these weapons. But it's all predicated on this run. So I like that factor. Coming in, thinking about KC and that offensive line, people are downplaying three starters on the offensive line being out against that front seven that Tampa Bay has. That's insane. You got Mike Rimmers at the tackle position. That's a problem. The last time he was in the Super Bowl, he got torched by Von Miller. So, now you got to face JPP or Shaq Barrett. These are problems that are going to come up, and I don't think that this is just going to be Chuck City for both sides. So let's get into it. We're looking at it. Obviously, we want to play Mahomes and Brady, but not necessarily in the captain spot. I remember one Super Bowl that it was beneficial to have, quarterbacks at the captain spot, and that was that Philadelphia Eagles and New England Patriots Super Bowl. That was the last time that I remember it being beneficial in that situation. So obviously have a little percentage of Mahomes and Brady at the captain spot, but I don't think the final lineup is going to have that there. So we're going to put them in the flex to see how this goes because I want both. I do. I'm pretty sure I do. Thinking about it, I want to have either one or the other or both in almost every lineup. Tampa Bay is going to have to take out either Kelsey or Tyreek Hill. I think they're going to focus on Tyreek Hill because what he did the last time they faced totally torched him in Week 12. He had 203 yards in that first quarter. In the next three quarters, he only had 66 yards. So, obviously, they were able to, stop him, double team him, and not leave him one-on-one with Carlton Davis. That was an absolute problem. So, they fixed that. They're going to need to do what they did to the Green Bay Packers to slow down the Kansas City Chiefs. You're not going to stop them. You need to slow them down. And third downs are going to be very key to getting that defense and that offense off the field. So I think they'll stop Tyreek Hill. I'm looking at props, then I like the under on Tyreek Hill receiving yards. I'll do another prop video going through some of the nice odds on some of these Super Bowl props. They got the coin toss, they got the anthem with how long it's going to go. There's so many crazy props to go through. But I like Kelsey. We're just going to go down the list. Chris Godwin is someone to look at. Obviously, he's been very, very consistent. Him and Tom Brady, the safety blanket over the middle. Chris Godwin, 9 targets, 5 catches, 110 yards against the Green Bay Packers. Making huge, huge catches. He had that nice deep ball. I think that's something to look forward to as well. Trying to stretch the field against this blitzing Kansas City Chiefs defense. Steve Spagnuolo has a big familiarity with Tom Brady. This will be their third matchup in the Super Bowl. Steve Spagnuolo, faced them twice, with the Giants. But this is just different team, same coordinator. It's going to be a big mind game between Tom Brady and Steve Spagnuolo going at it, because they're going to max protect Tom Brady. The key is moving that ball, getting that run game, because that is a weakness for KC, and that'll stop that blitzing. And then once you get the run going, you can use that play action and really get your mixed matches. Okay. Chris Godwin, I spoke about. Next is going to be Mike Evans. This guy has been a guarantee at the first touchdowns of the game. I think he's another candidate this week to do that again. The last 2 games, he's done that with no problem. He's one of the number 1 targets that Tom Brady looks for in the red zone. Other than Mike Evans, the next guy to look at in the red zone is going to be Gronkowski. Okay, and Gronkowski is really, really cheap. I think this is a sneaky play either at captain or in the flex. This is the Super Bowl. He's going to look for his best buddy, and that's Rob Gronkowski, the sure-handed tight end. There's going to be some big moments. Tom Brady's going to be looking for number 87. Definitely have him in your back pocket as a cheap option. Another Tampa Bay Buccaneer that I love is going to be Leonard Fournette, coming into the playoffs. A huge pickup from the Jacksonville Jaguars for practically nothing. And this man has taken over the running back situation. Even though, despite the fact that Ronald Jones has been outstanding this year, he has a fumble problem. But Leonard Fournette has stepped in. And this is what I expected. I told you if you watch my past videos that Fournette would be the lead back in these situations, especially in the playoffs, because Tom Brady don't play that. He don't play that. If you fumble the ball, you are off the field. You saw what happened when Keyshawn Vaughn had that one fumble a couple games ago, immediately on the bench. We can't there is no excuse for these type of mistakes. They practice the way Tom Brady practices. They do this over and over and over. He doesn't want to see any mistakes. So this is the reason why Leonard Fournette has been the lead back out of this offense, and not Ronald Jones. Fournette at 7,800 is a lock. Have him in almost every single lineup. The running back on the other side, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They sparingly use the run. They might need to. I'm not even going to say they don't even try, because how good the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense is. But I would expect if Edwards-Helaire would be effective in this game, he's going to be out the backfield. Despite the fact that he's going to go up against very solid linebackers in David and Levante David, and Devin White. It's a tough call. I'm leaning away to him because they rarely use him. Maybe Le'Veon Bell gets a touch in the red zone. He gets his first, touchdown in the Super Bowl. That could happen as well because he's really, really cheap. I think at was he $800, Le'Veon Bell? No, $1,200. So I would steer away from that. If I'm choosing a running back, it's going to be Fournette. We're waiting on news on Antonio Brown at 9,300. He's been practicing full the last couple days, so he should play. He's going to be a factor as well because how dynamic of a wide receiver he is. And then we're just looking for cheaper options to fill in these rosters. So Miko Harmon, he might get a little bit less run because the resurgence of Sammy Watkins coming back from the injury list with the calf issues. He's having a ton of problems, but He usually shows up in big games. If you remember last Super Bowl, he got over 100 yards receiving. He's weird like that. He'll show up when you least expect it. Timmy Watkins is another weapon for KC that can add to this arsenal, and it's going to be unfortunate for Tampa Bay because they're gonna have to focus in on Tyreek Hill and Kelsey and just let the other guys beat them 1-on-1. You gotta have to pick your poison, but I don't want to go out losing to Tyreek Hill just running up and down the field. That's not acceptable. That's the reason why they were down 17-0 early in that game. Other options, I spoke about Sammy Watkins, Cameron Brate, questionable, but as a number 2 tight end on this offense, he is viable, but I'm leaning definitely more to Gronkowski at that cheaper price. And because that's Tom Brady's best buddy. Like, we know this already. So, obviously, in this game, I think the under is going to hit. Kickers and defense, I think, are going to be huge factors. A lot of people, there's even bets on 13 and a half points in the first quarter. Like, how you think that's going to happen? There's going to have to be stops, and there's going to have to be field goals. I think these teams can be able to move up and down the field, but will they score in the end zone? I think these defenses tighten up in the red zone areas, and you might see more of these kickers become factors. Okay, Harrison Butker has been a solid kicker this year for the Kansas City Chiefs. He has a very strong leg, and so has Suckup, who's had a higher average than Butker in a DraftKings point per game scenario. Okay, if they finally came up, boom, he's missed 3 field goals so far this year. They use him when needing be, obviously, because they usually score touchdowns. So he's usually, in that extra point area, knocking them down from very short distances. But when they need a nice kick, Harrison Butker is very reliable. Ryan Suckup has been just as good this year as well. So I think these guys are going to be huge factors so you can pay up for these other positions because everyone's going to have the same build with quarterbacks in the captain spot. And from after that point, you're going to have to choose the cheap guys, and no one's going to choose the kicker or defense because they think this game is going to go, 70, 60, 70 points. It could, but I'm going to be contrarian in this breakdown. I think it goes the other way. Another guy that's really, really cheap, who I really, really like, and this could be a captain play as well, is going to be Scottie Miller. He has been huge in the playoffs. You saw what he did against Green Bay right before halftime. A nice deep goal route for 39 yards and a touchdown. I think Scottie Miller is going to be a factor, even with Antonio Brown being back. He made himself known against Green Bay. He even spoke up saying that he's faster than Tyreek Hill. So this man is obviously trying to make a statement. He could come up huge, right? And if we're looking at defenses, you got the Chiefs defense. They're going to need to pressure up the middle to get to Tom Brady. Chris Jones is going to be that guy. Maybe Honey Badger and Spagnola can draw up some blitzes to get to Tom Brady. So that's the only way you see Chiefs points. But Tom Brady's too smart for that. I think they can adjust to that. The next defense is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. This is my favorite defense if I had to choose the two, just because of what I spoke about before. 3 starting offensive linemen are injured, and that's going to be going up against this elite front 7 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you've seen what they've done the past couple weeks with 3 interceptions against New Orleans, an interception against Green Bay, and another interception against the Washington football team. Could be maybe they get a safety. There's crazy things that can happen in this game, and I'm excited to see it. But I'm definitely gonna have some exposure to kickers and defenses in my builds. Okay. Other than that, some other cheaper guys to look for. Not really looking at Byron Pringle. Ronald Jones could spell Leonard Fournette to get maybe a touchdown. That's not really a high upside play. That's really a shot in the dark. But he definitely can be a factor. Yeah, over 1,000 yards this season. But like I said, the fumble problem is huge, and they want a sure hand, and that is Leonard Fournette, and he's the better receiving back. Demarcus Robinson is a shot in the dark as well. And then other than that, it really gets ugly. Maybe Le'Veon Bell can spell Edwards-Helaire in a few situations, maybe in the red zone. But we're going to focus up top. I think coming to a conclusion, my favorite captain guys are going to be on the cheaper end, are going to be Scottie Miller. Is going to be Rob Gronkowski as well. I like him at the captain spot. Those are the cheaper end guys. Sammy Watkins could be huge as a cheaper guy to look at on the Kansas City Chiefs side. If you really want to get crazy, I think a kicker more than a defense. But on the upper echelon of guys, other than the quarterbacks, because that's very, very chalky, you got Travis Kelce, who's a solid option at the captain spot. I think they focus in and limit Tyreek Hill because that was a huge, huge problem. They do not want that problem. There's no way they win this game and let him go off. Another guy is going to be either Chris Godwin or Mike Evans at that captain spot. Not if we put him in right now. Let's see. We put in Chris Godwin at 3,200. It leaves you 3,000 left. You have to have correlation. Obviously, if you have Chris Godwin, you're going to need Tom Brady. So you're going to have to cut some salary somewhere. That means you might have to see how it gets costly. You're going to have to use some cheap guys if you really want to make these builds. So maybe you have to cut Mahomes, but I know you don't want to do that. So you might have to cut Kelce and find another wide receiver option in your line to fit in this lineup. So you might be looking at a Hardman, a Cameron Brate, a Sammy Watkins. This is why I like Sammy Watkins, because he is cheap enough and he can be that number one option for Pat Mahomes, since all of the attention is going to be on Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Watkins, Hardman, Pringle, these are the guys that are going to need to step up in this Super Bowl. And this is where you can fit it in, because once you pay for these high-priced captain guys, you're going to need to find cheap receivers or backs or kickers or defenses to fill in for these spots. Okay, so other than defensive kicker, which is going to be viable in this Super Bowl, I'm telling you right now, because once you make these lineups, it tells the story. There's not enough money to go around. You're going to have to save. Okay, so let me know in the comment section how you guys feel. Do you agree with my strategy? I know I'm contrarian. I think the under is going to hit. This is going to be something totally different. Maybe the game goes in overtime. I'm going to say it goes in overtime as well, and still the under hits. So we'll see what happens. I'm going for Tampa Bay in this game, obviously. They brought me this far. I think they take it home. Comment down below. Let me know who's your favorite captain, who's your favorite flex. Is there another sleeper that I do not know of? Let me know, because I think I looked at everyone. But if you have a little story and a reasoning by your decision, then fine, so be it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessengerD, and I'll be back with another video tomorrow. All right, guys? Peace out.